Hello everyone, it's me, LBT Electric Dino 75 once again, and welcome back to my channel, and I hope you're all doing good, and I'm finally back doing tier list rankings, because the last tier list ranking that I ever did is the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchise, to see which one's my favorite and which one's my least favorite. But if you want to check out those tier list rankings, I'll put a link down below so you can go check it out, and moving back to the video. So, anyways, as for this Halloween special, today's tier list ranking is going to be on these dinosaur villains. Lots and lots of dinosaur villains. There are like super deadly and super menacing and somewhat intimidating in my opinion.
And so on and so forth.
But anyways, there's a lot of baddies that we have to deal with in this tier list ranking. From the S tier, from the A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and F tier. No time to translate all those colorations and all those other stuff. I decided to leave them exactly the way they are. So that way I won't be able to get complicated and all that stuff. And speaking of which, I know one of my users, Delta the Velociraptor, and Gus the Proceratosaur, has done a tier list ranking similar to this. But this is going to be very different, apart from their ranking, but in my style. So, there. Now that I've created a new tier list ranking known as Never Seen, in case of the dino villains that I've never seen, never heard of, and all those other stuff, but you'll get to the point. So with all that said, let's do this tier list ranking, just for this Halloween month. And as for the dino villains that I've never seen before, I'm going to put the Stegosaurus in never seen, since I've never seen them, never heard of them, and yeah, they came from Dinosaur King, and Stegosaurus from Dinosaur King, I'm going to put him in never seen. And then these raptors from Extreme Dinosaurs, the cartoon, never seen him, and I'm going to put them in never seen, because I've never seen them and never heard of them. And then there's the Black T-Rex from Dinosaur King. I'm going to put him in S tier. For what he is, he does serve as a good dinosaur villain. His design, his model, his powers and all that stuff, he's intimidating as a dinosaur villain. He's even more intimidating than Thanos. And speaking of which, he's basically like this dino equivalent of Thanos from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, this guy is deadly. The Black Tyrannosaurus from Dinosaur King. Yikes. Then there's this sauropod from Dinosaur King, and never seen him and never heard of him. I'm going to put him in never seen. And finally, my all-time favorite dino villains, also known as the Carnotaurs from Dinosaur. Yeah, I absolutely love the Carnotaur. He's absolutely one of my favorite dino villains of all time throughout the movie Dinosaur. And he's more intimidating and more threatening, to say the least. Yeah, I'm going to put him in S tier. He deserves to be S tier because he's literally one of my favorite dinosaur villains of all time, and I can't wait to talk about him when I get to my review of Dinosaur or some videos of Dinosaur. But yeah, I love the Carnotaur. He's even more threatening and more terrifying, to say the least. And he does serve as a good Disney villain in the inside, like Scar, Sabor, or Shere Khan. But the Carnotaur takes the trophy and does steal the show as one of my favorite dino villains of all time. He's ruthless. And then there's the big pack of raptors from Dino King Journey to Fire Mountain, especially these three, which those are really good dino villains. And I absolutely love those trio of Deinonychus.
Oh wow, I can't believe it. He's even bigger. Please, have mercy on us.
Maybe just a little for me.
I mean, they're really good dino villains in Dino King Journey to Fire Mountain, kidnapping kids and surrounding them and see which one is weak and all that stuff. I'm going to put them in S tier. They belong in the S tier because They are terrifying dino villains. And then there's the Dino Birds from Ice Age Collision Course, which, honestly, I thought they're alright, but not as good, but not terrible. I'm going to put them in C tier. Yeah, they're okay dino villains, but Ice Age Collision Course would have been better if they fleshed out some of the dino villains as the characters, in my opinion. I get that they want to do this backstory of the Dino Birds, but for what they are, I think they're okay dino villains, in my opinion. Not the worst things, not great, but they're just alright. But the movie would have been better if they fleshed them out quite a bit. So, you get C tier. Then there's the Giganotosaurus from Journey of the Center of the Earth. You get B tier. Yep, B tier for the Giganotosaurus from Journey of the Center of the Earth. Yeah, I decided to put him there because he's alright, but he's somewhat decent in my opinion. He's kind of an okay dino villain, so I decided to put him in B tier. He's decent, but he should have gotten more screening time. So that's why he puts him in the B tier. And the Giganotosaurus from the Land Before Time sequels, known as the Mysterious Island, which, yeah, I absolutely like this Giganotosaurus design. And I hate to say this, but he's even more threatening than the one from Jurassic World Dominion. I put him in A tier. And I hate to say this Giganotosaurus puts the Giganotosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion to shame. Because that Giganotosaurus is more threatening than the one from Dominion. He's a lot scarier, he's a lot more menacing, and he's a lot more intimidating. And is there anything else to say? He gets A tier for being a good one, but hey, it's worth a shot. And next we got the Tyrannosaurus from Dinosaur King, which, honestly, I've never seen him and never heard of him. So that's why I decided to put him in never seen. Yeah, I've never seen anything like him, but I'll like to check him out in the near future. But other than that, he is what he is. And then we get Gorgon, the Gorgosaurus from Walking with Dinosaurs movie. And he is a good dinosaur villain in my opinion. He has a cool design, the cool model, and the cool look. So for that, I put him in S tier, next to the Carnotaur from Dinosaur. So you get S. You get S tier. And then there's the Horned Tyrannosaurus from Primal. He has a cool design and the cool roar and all that stuff. I say I probably put him in A tier, next to the Giganotosaurus from the Land Before Time sequels, because that's saying a lot. And then we get the Indominus Rex from Jurassic World. Honestly, the Indominus Rex, she's kind of cool as a dino villain, but she's not one of my favorites. She is good as a dino villain, but not as good as the dino villains as I mentioned, like the Carnotaur, One-Eye, or the Gorgosaurus, but what she is kind of intimidating in the inside and threatening, to say the least. And honestly, she's a lot better than the Giganotosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion, because she gets more screening time and more appearances. That's why I'm putting the Indominus Rex at the A tier, because she's terrifying. Yikes. And then there's the Indoraptor from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which is Gus's favorite dino villain, and it could be one of those underrated dino villains. But hey, it's worth a shot. And I hate to say this, but I like the Indoraptor more than the Indominus, because he looks terrifying and more deadly and much more of a psychopath, along with the Indominus. So I'm going to put him in A tier, next to the Indominus. And Gus, if you're watching this tier list ranking's for you, proving how much you enjoy the Indoraptor for Fallen Kingdom. Don't get me wrong, I like the Indoraptor too, but I like it more than the Indominus, so you're lucky that we're on the same boat with each other. And then there's this zombified Parasaurolophus from Primal, which I really don't like it nearly as much. Never seen it, never heard of him, and I really don't like it, so F tier. Yeah, seen him once and never gonna see him again. And then there's this zombified sauropod from Primal. I'm putting him in D tier. He's just not my cup of tea. I really don't like it. And then we got Crone from Dinosaur, which, yeah, he is alright as a dino villain, but, which honestly, Samuel E. Wright did a good job voicing the character of Crone, but the character itself, he's alright. But he does serve as a Disney villain. But as a dinosaur villain, not so much. He is slightly the weaker dinosaur villains and slightly weak as a Disney villain. But if I want to pick a Disney villain that is a lot better, I pick the Carnotaur and the Tyrannosaurus from Fantasia. So hard to beat that on front. But as for Crone, I think he's alright, but I think I'd rather put him in the top 10 Disney villains if I have some time to do a video. But overall, he gets B tier. And then there's this Triceratops from Dinosaur King, which I've never seen him, never heard of him. I'm going to put him in never seen. And finally, the deadliest kaiju villains, also known as the monster from Fire Mountain, also known as the beast from Fire Mountain, which I absolutely like this character in Dino King Journey to Fire Mountain. The way that he serves as this big climax plot where Speckles encounters this giant mutant iguana-like creature, which he has a cool design and a menacing roar, and the way that it moves. For what he is kind of a cool monster villain. But as a dinosaur villain, not so much. So, he's okay as a monster villain, but as a dinosaur villain, not so much. So I think he puts him in B tier. There. I put the monster in Fire Mountain in B tier. All meant cool design, cool roar, and that's why he goes there. And then there's the Night Theater from Primal, and I'm going to put him in A tier, next to the Indoraptor from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I mean, he's terrifying and very deadly in my opinion. Yikes. He's terrifying in Primal. And finally, we get One Eye, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. My second favorite dino villains next to the Carnotaur. The baddest of the bad. The scariest of the scarers. And honestly, he's better than the Indominus from Jurassic World. Yeah, he's a lot better in my opinion. He even puts the Indominus Rex to shame, so that's why I'm going to put him in S tier. There, I'm going to put him higher next to the Gorgo and the Raptors. He does serve as a good dino villain in my opinion. Next to the Carnotaur. Boom. And then we get Orson from Ice Age, The Adventures of Buck Wild. Yeah, I may not be a fan of Ice Age, The Adventures of Buck Wild, but Orson here, I think he's alright as a dinosaur villain. He's alright, in my opinion. Next to the Dino Birds. And I'm glad that they decided to pick a herbivore dinosaur as a main villain, other than just carnivores all the time. And so Orson here, he's alright as a dinosaur villain, along with the Dino Birds, Crone, and the monster from Fire Mountain, as well as the Giganotosaurus from Journey to the Center of the Earth. So, yeah. For the C tier, I put Orson there. And then these annoying talking Struthiomimus in Land Before Time 2. Oh my lord. Yeah, these guys are annoying. They are super annoying and super doofuses, in my opinion.
No.
I'm sorry to put this, but I think I'd rather put him in F tier. So, yeah, those Struthiomimus dinos, they are very forgettable in my opinion. Because all they want is eggs. Eggs. And then there's the Acrocanthosaurus from Dinosaur King, which he does serve as a good dino villain, and he's threatening and intimidating, and yikes. I'm going to put him on point with Black T-Rex, and I'm sorry to say this, but they both get S tiers. One for Black T-Rex and one for Acrocanthosaurus, because they are really deadly and super vicious in my opinion. So the Acrocanthosaurus gets S tier. And then there's Red Claw from The Land Before Time, the TV show, which I really do not like Red Claw. I thought he's boring and very forgettable in my opinion. So next to the sauropod from Primal, I'm going to put him in D tier. I just find him very, very, very forgettable and very underwhelming. And he's not even that great. I'm sorry, but he just didn't do much for me. So that's why he gets D tier. And finally, we get the terrifying Baryonyx. Rudy from Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs. And honestly, he's a way better dino villain than the Dino Birds, Orson, and the Indominus Rex. He's a lot better than those dino villains, so I'm going to put him in S tier, next to One Eye and the Carnotaur. And honestly, he's a way better dino villain than the Indominus Rex from Jurassic World. Yeah, I said it best. Finally, we're almost done with this ranking of dinosaur villains. And the point is that this ranking is almost over. So I got a few more to go, and yeah. And next we got the Saurophagonax in Dinosaur King. The terrifying Saurophagonax. He's terrifying, and I'm going to put him in A tier. Boom. Next to the Indoraptor from Fallen Kingdom and the Red Horned Tyrannosaurus from Primal. So, you get A tier. Saurophagonax. And then we get the Scorpius Rex, which, yeah, I really don't like the Scorpius in Camp Cretaceous Season 3, which, yeah, honestly, I really don't like the Scorpius. I thought he was like a carved copy of the Indoraptor for Fallen Kingdom, but I think they're okay dino villains. So I think he's okay. So that's why I put him in C tier. Because I didn't feel a connection with these dino villains, and it's kind of hard, so yeah, they get C tier. And then those raptors from the Land Before Time TV show, which I didn't care about them at all. I didn't care about them, so they get F tier. Next to the Struthiomimus from the Land Before Time too, which I didn't care about them. They're basically like these annoying dino dwarves, and I didn't care about them. They felt generic and out of place. If you want to see better raptor villains, I highly recommend the Deinonychus from Dino King Journey to Fire Mountain. And even the Velociraptors from Jurassic Park, which those are way better. And finally, we get Sharptooth from the first Land Before Time movie. Which, he is a good dino villain. And I absolutely like Sharptooth. I mean, this guy needs business. The way that he threatened Littlefoot's mom in The Land Before Time, I mean, he is terrifying, and the roar, the design, and the menacing look, yeah, I put him in S tier, next to all these dino villains. So, he gets S tier. Scary for Sharptooth. And as for them, long live the king. And the Spinosaurus for Jurassic Park 3, which I really don't have a connection with the Spino, but I say he's B tier. He's alright as a dino villain, but I think I put him next to Crone. So he's alright. And then the Spinosaurus from Dinosaur King, which they're basically rivals. Like the Indominus Rex, I'm going to put him in A tier, which I don't see him doing anything evil nearly as much, but yeah. For what he is, he's kind of a good dino villain, but not my favorites. Next, we get Tank the Cychania from Dinosaur King. I think I'm going to put him in B tier, which he's alright. And I don't think he's that evil of a dino villain. He's just alright. So, B tier for Cychania, the Red Tyrannosaurus Rex. Terry. Long before Black T-Rex, this is the killer in Dinosaur King. The mighty big Tyrannosaurus Rex. And I'm going to put him higher next to Black T-Rex. So he gets S tier. Next to the Acrocanthosaurus and Black T-Rex. You get the picture. Terry, the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex. And he's better than all these other dinosaur villains, as I mentioned in Dinosaur King. Like the other T-Rex, the Spinosaurus, and the Cychania. So, yeah, S tier. And finally, Toro, the Carnotaurus from Camp Cretaceous. For that, he gets S tier. Next to the Raptors from Dino King Journey to Fire Mountain, and more threatening, to say the least. And then there's this T-Rex from Disney's Fantasia, which, honestly, I'm never a fan of Disney's Fantasia. But for the dinosaur parts, yeah, it's the one that caught my eyes. The Tyrannosaurus from Fantasia. The first Disney movie that features this dinosaur as this main antagonist. So, the T-Rex from Fantasia, for what he is, he does serve as a really good villain in my opinion. So that's why I decided to put him in A tier. Next to the Giganotosaurus, and next to the Horned Tyrannosaurus from Primal. But don't worry, if I make a top 10 Disney villains, this guy definitely deserves a spot on the list. Next, we got the V-Rex from Peter Jackson's King Kong, which I absolutely love the V-Rex. Yeah, he gets S tier, and yeah, these V-Rexes look terrifying. They look deadly, and they look menacing. The way that they appear in Skull Island, they are very, very deadly and terrifying. And finally, the Velociraptors from Jurassic Park. The first Jurassic Park movie, which is honestly one of the favorites of the 90s. Last but not least is the Velociraptors, so they get S tier. And this is terrifying. They are deadly and very menacing, to say the least. They are scary. And boom, you get them. And there you have it for my tier list ranking of these dinosaur villains that I most likely enjoy. From the S tier, from the A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier, and the rest that I've never seen before and never heard of. But I'll probably check them out in the near future. So, overall, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please sure like and subscribe, and I'm going to do something that is more Halloween related. So stay tuned for that. And I might as well do a live stream, so stay tuned for that, everyone. And LBT here. See you guys next time. And remember, if something chases you, run. And Happy Halloween, by the way.